our update is coming in the very near future, so hopefully that's going to move us back ahead. How does the sprint weekend preparation differ from a normal race weekend? Well, the challenge is that you've got 1 hour to get the car ready for the race, as opposed to the normal 3 hours, 2 on a Friday, 1 on a Saturday. So the key is you've got that setup dialed in from the word go. The drivers can just start putting the laps in, getting practice for the qualifying session that comes later that day. Now, the way we do that is the work that we would normally do on track over Friday and Saturday gets done in the simulator. The drivers will be doing many more laps, going through test items there to try and end up with a qualifying and a race-ready setup that they can hit the ground running with. Now, the process we use, we're still evolving it because sprint races are relatively new, so we will look at the approach for this one, work out are there areas we can improve, we can refine it, to try and have a better performance at the next. What happened to George in the Sprint Shootout? Well, this was particularly frustrating because George was having a very good morning, much happier in the car than he was the day before. We'd already progressed into Q2, but as he was coming into the pit lane, he felt the steering strange. He let go of it. It actually turned the car to the left-hand side as he was coming into the pits. So he reported that. We're then busy checking the data, and what we could see was we had a hydraulic problem. Now, the tricky bit when you're then going into a race is how do you know which bit is causing the issue? You haven't got long to do a diagnosis. We're looking at the data trying to understand which bits might be implicated, and we actually ended up changing quite a few parts on the hydraulic side, giving a lot of work for the garage going into that sprint race. Now, happily, the car worked very well from there onwards, worked all the way through to the race on Sunday, completely reliably. So really good job by everyone in the garage to get it turned around. Good job on making sure we pick the right bits to change. But the long and short of it is we can't afford reliability issues like that. We need to be aiming to be 100% reliable everywhere we go. Was coming into the pits on the virtual safety car the right decision? Well, for us it was, and the vast majority of the field decided to do that. There might be some cars that are more out of position that think they'll benefit from cars ahead boxing, but for us it was a very clear decision. Now, the reason you do that is that a normal pit stop is a 21-second loss. The pit stop in Austria under the virtual safety car is around 10 seconds, so that's a big chunk of race time that you can gain, even if you're having to do slightly longer stints thereafter. Now, George did a really good job of overtaking a few key cars after that, and then he was able to make up positions, but overall it was definitely the right thing to do with both. Why was Lewis struggling to stay within the track limits? Well, if you were watching the race, you may have heard him talk about understeer in the high-speed corners, and some of the very fast corners are at the end of the lap. Now, the problem with understeer is when you carry the speed in, you haven't really got the ability to tighten the line if you need to. So the simple issue for him was the combination of the nature of the corner and the curb, and the fact that he had this balance issue where the car wasn't turning strongly enough as he wound the lock on, meant that on a number of occasions he just ran wide, just drifted over that line, and ultimately that was what caused the penalty. Was the lack of performance in Austria down to the 1 hour free practice? Well, we do improve the car when we have 3 sessions. That's always the case because you get more running, more learning, and you can refine the setup. But everyone's in the same boat with the 1 hour practice, so we can't really use that as an excuse. An element of it will be down to the fact that fundamentally our car isn't as well suited to the Austria circuit as some others, and then part of it will be down to the fact that our competitors have been updating their cars, some of them very recently. Our update is coming in the very near future, so hopefully that's going to move us back ahead. How do we feel about the penalty situation with the track limits? Well, it's clear what the rules were, and it was clear that Lewis on a number of occasions had not kept one of his wheels on the track, so that was why we were accumulating those penalties. The issue was though, so many drivers were accumulating them early in the race that the messages weren't coming up on the FIA's messaging system quick enough for us to be able to inform Lewis. So by the time those messages were actually clear and we were relaying them to him, he'd actually got enough incidents to be able to be given that 5-second penalty that he served in the pit stop. And then the added issue, when there was the protest and they reviewed it, was there were further ones, and on the later ones the penalty keeps going up and up, which meant that he had to take that 10-second penalty in the final race result. But it is a situation that should be looked at. It was too much of a feature of the race there, and it's a great circuit that the drivers enjoy driving. They shouldn't feel that they're having to tiptoe round without making a single mistake. So it is something that we'll look at, but as a team we're very happy to get involved in the conversations there, hopefully finding a better solution for the future races. What's the team's expectation for Silverstone? Well, it's a fantastic event that we really look forward to. The team is based very close to the track. We've got 2 British drivers and the support is always absolutely phenomenal. So we love going there. We've got updates coming to the car, so we have a new front wing that we're going to be bringing that will hopefully move us a bit further up the grid. And also we're hoping that the track itself is just going to suit the car a bit better than that Austria circuit. So we're working very hard. We know that it's going to be very difficult to get anywhere close to max in the Red Bull car, but we've got a great fight going on at the moment with Ferrari, with Aston Martin. McLaren have joined in that battle. So as I said, we're going to be working really hard to make sure we can get as much out of the package as we can, and hopefully it'll be a great race for all the fans.